Hi, Will from Fologram here. In this tutorial, we're going to cover starting Fologram for the first time and getting a model from your Rhino document onto the HoloLens and experiencing it in mixed reality. There are a couple of things that you should think about when you are starting up Fologram in the HoloLens for the first time, and I'm going to cover those in the tutorial just to make sure that your model is at an appropriate scale. It is where you expect it to be in the room and not hundreds of meters away somewhere else, that you're working with the right materials, and that you aren't working with a model with too many polygons. The HoloLens is essentially a high-powered mobile chipset. It's not like your high-end desktop or laptop machine, and so there are limitations in terms of the size of the models that you can expect to view or stream to the headset. Just got to minimize that guy. Okay, so to start Fologram for the first time, we're going to put the headset on. And we're going to launch Fologram from the Windows home screen on the headset. It'll take a few seconds to launch. While it is, I'm going to make sure that the laptop that I'm going to be running Fologram on is connected to the same Wi-Fi network as the HoloLens. So we're at RMIT University in Melbourne at the moment. My laptop is connected to the university network, and so is the headset. So that's the first thing to double check before you try and connect the two devices. If you do need to change networks, best practice is change networks and restart Rhino. So after a few seconds, Fologram for HoloLens will have started, and you should see a frame telling you to look at the QR code. Now, the QR code that the headset is referring to is the one which will allow the headset to connect to your laptop over Wi-Fi. So I'm going to click on Add a Device in Fologram. If Fologram's not running, you can start it from the command bar by typing in Fologram. And this is going to display a QR code. I'm then going to look at my QR code, and my headset will show up in the list of connected devices down here in my plugin window. On the headset, I'm now going to be asked to tap to place my model. So you can look somewhere in the room and then copy the gesture that you see on Fologram to tap and place your construction plane. So what this is doing is it's locating the 0 point of your Rhino model somewhere in the physical space that you're currently in. So any objects in your Rhino model will show up in the physical space in the same position and orientation that they do relative to your Rhino 0 point. So first things first, let's model a box, let's say, to display on the HoloLens. So I'm just going to type in the box command. I'm going to put the first corner of my base at 0, 0, and then depending on the units of your Rhino document, I'm going to model a box which is, let's say, 30 by 30 by 30 centimeters in size. So you have to be careful, because if you are working with meters as your units, you'll be making a 30 by 30 by 30 meter box if you just type 30, 30, 30. And if you're working with millimeters, you'll be making a 30 by 30 by 30 millimeter box. So if we want to make 30 by 30 by 30 centimeters, my document is in millimeters, so I'm going to type 300 for my length, 300 for my width, and 300 for my height. So that's made a 30 by 30 by 30 centimeter box on the table. And you'll notice that the corner of my box, because I placed it at the 0, 0 point, also appears in the corner of the construction plane that I see on the HoloLens. So if your box isn't displaying, but your headset is connected, and you're seeing some things being sent over Wi-Fi, your box might be miles and miles away from the origin. It could be a box, it could be a model of a design, whatever it is. And so when you have the HoloLens on and you're looking around the room, you won't immediately see your object. I can see it way off in the distance over there if I look for it. So a good thing to ensure when you are working with an existing Rhino model and you want to visualize it on the HoloLens is to make sure that your model has been moved to the origin point of your Rhino document. The other thing to ensure, I'll do a quick test, is if you're working with a very, very, very large model, so I'm going to make my box really large. As I look around on the HoloLens, I don't see any box, and that is because at the moment my headset is inside of the box, and so I'm only seeing the inside, and by default the inside or the back faces of any surfaces rendered on the HoloLens don't display. So as a result you see nothing. So you want to make sure that the model that you're wanting to visualize on the HoloLens is an appropriate scale for the physical space that you're in. The other thing which can cause problems are your materials. So the default materials in Rhino are just a flat white material, as you can see on the headset. If you assign a material which is completely transparent, that may also cause problems. So it will disappear because it's a completely transparent model.